All right, we're going to get started. So, a very warm welcome again to those of you who have joined us for our workshop today, all about accelerating your AI projects at scale. So, my name is Lesley. I am our go-to-market leader for IBM iX in Gulf and Levant. iX is our global design and experience studio. We are based all over the world. Our studios here in the Gulf and Levant are in Dubai. And across me, we've also got a studio in Johannesburg. Today, I'm going to be joined by Hassan Amine, a design director at IBM iX, and Ahmed Lashin, one of our data and AI technology specialists from IBM Technology. So we've got a very packed agenda for our session today, and you've all joined us to do a workshop. So we're going to get you working today as well as us up here speaking. We're going to try and have that balance a little bit more towards the latter so that we've really got you and your individual groups working together to really help you understand what it is that you need to do to begin the work around developing your strategy and developing a roadmap to really accelerate your AI initiatives. We're going to start with a little bit of an IBM point of view on AI, just to level set. We're going to introduce some of the methodologies and frameworks that we have at IBM called Garage, and I'm sure many of you are familiar with enterprise design thinking, which we'll really base our workshop on today. And then for the bulk of our session, we're going to be running two activities, primarily around really taking that first step to understand the core intent behind why you would leverage AI. So we'll have some time towards the end for Q&A, but as I said, we really want this to be interactive. So if you've got questions, we've got microphones dotted around the room. So pop your hand up, feel free to shout. Anyone in a black t-shirt with an IBM Watson sign, we're part of the IBM team. So if you've got questions, just reach them. We've also got our stands, so feel free to join us after if there's anything that you haven't felt cleared up or anything you'd like to discuss further with us. So we're going to pass on to Ahmed, who's going to share a little bit about that IBM AI point of view, just to level set before we get into the activity. So Ahmed.
Hello? Yes. Excellent. So generative AI, this is very exciting. So I think it's very strange. I can say that we are lucky that we are living now in a moment. We are witnessing a technology that is changing the dynamics of everything around us. It's changing how we communicate with each other. It's changing also how we interact, or even how we are running our business right now. And we at IBM, we have long history with AI. We have been working with our customer, thousands and thousands of customers, empowering them to harness the power of AI. And we can see that right now that there is a shift that's happening in the market right now, so that we are moving from what we call plus AI to the AI plus. This means that we are moving now from we are running our business as usual, and then we have some small AI functionalities or AI models here and there just to help us while running the business, into a complete new stage when we have AIs completely running the business, letting us focus on what's matter. And how this is happening, we can explain this using our AI ladder, okay? So first of all, we need the data, okay? We cannot start our AI journey without the data. Once we have clean and organized data, then we start to build our AI functionality, our AI models. We start to infuse these models and functionalities into our applications, okay? And this is, again, so we will start to see the value after this. So we think about expanding this and start to automate some of the workflows that we have, okay? And this is a journey that will end up being replacing all the workflows that we have in the organization into an AI automated workflows. And this is what we mean by the AI is running actually the business, and we are focusing on more strategic things. And from our experience, the key to a successful AI implementation is to have a clear AI strategy, okay? And while thinking about your AI strategy, there are some considerations that you need to think about, okay, before building or working on your strategy. So, first of all, multi-model. There is no one model that will be capable of doing everything for you, Okay, so you need to think about having more one model. There will be like small size models that are specialized in things, and these models will be working together, okay, in order to complete your AI or the business goals that you have. So you will always have more than one model. The second thing is the cloud. So I think we need to change the perspective a little bit. We need to think of cloud as a capability, not a destination. So based on your requirements, you might want to have your AI workload locally on-prem. In other cases, okay, you might prefer to have your AI workload hosted on one of the cloud providers that we have, or you might prefer to have a hybrid model. So some AI workload will be hosted locally, and the rest will be moved to cloud. Okay, and we have seen customers who actually are working with more than one cloud provider. So we have IBM Cloud and Microsoft Azure. We have Azure and Google. It's up to you. The third aspect is the governance. Now you have your AI models, you deploy them to production, and your customers started to use the AI models. So you need to be able to monitor your models and making sure they are not drifting with time, making sure that they are performing as expected, there is no fairness, there is no bias, there is no problem with the model that you have. So governance will be a very important aspect into your AI strategy. And one important thing here, also try to think about the regulation and compliance. This is what actually is coming in the next period. Everybody is trying to put some regulation to the AI, so you need to make sure that you are not violating the guidelines and the regulation that you have. Next, so when you start your AI journey, you will be very excited. You want to implement all the use cases that you have in the organization. But this might not be the best move. Okay. So you need to think first, you have some priorities. You need to start with the use cases that might have the highest ROI to your organization, so that it will be easier for you to deploy and adopt the AI there. So our advice to you, start small and then scale for a value. The last and important thing is the data. We all know that AI is as good as the data that was used to fuel it. So if you don't have high quality and clean data to start your AI modeling, I think it's very early for you to think about AI. So you have to think about it while having a thought about your AI strategy. You need to think about the data. This is the first and the foundation layer that you should have, okay, in order to start your AI journey. And I think right now I will leave the stage to my colleague Hassan to continue about this.
Hello, hi. So how do we build AI at scale? Some of the capabilities that we focus on are over here. So you can see we have the thinking of the mission and strategy for an AI first approach. Then we have the operating model and governance, and then we have the data and platform, engineering and operations, change management, people experience and enablement. So we're going to focus on these two pillars, the people experience and enablement, as well as the change management. And why are we focusing on these two areas? Because at the end of the day, when we're building AI capabilities, they are meant to serve people. So when we think about any AI capabilities that we build, we have to think about the needs of the people that are using them. So this is why we focus on the experience of any AI product that we build, as well as how we enable people to use it, and then of course at the core, the person that's going to use it, right? And then from a change management perspective, we have to look at, when we're introducing new AI capabilities, how do we empower people to learn how to use these capabilities? Because in the future, we believe in IBM that AI is not here to replace the human being. However, the human being that knows how to use AI is going to replace the human being that doesn't know how to use AI. So this is why we're going to focus on these two areas in this workshop. I'll pass over to my colleague, Lesley.
All right, so we want to have a think about how do we actually put this into practice. So I mentioned that the time we're going to spend today is really going to be you focused. So we want to underpin that a little bit with the methodologies that we use at IBM, and that underpins our work in consulting across technology and primarily in IX, our global design studio. So Garage, IBM Garage, is a framework that has been born out of value orchestration in IBM. So it's essentially a framework that we leverage for accelerating digital transformation and delivering meaningful and measurable outcomes. So it's all about putting value and users at the center. So in practice, how this works is it helps you generate innovative ideas and equips you with the practices, technologies, and expertise to turn those ideas into business value in the matter of weeks. How does it work? I mentioned that it's human-centered. It puts customer pain points at the focus of everything you do. So how does AI at scale become powered by IBM Garage? So you'll see we've got 3 distinct phases over which this framework applies. Co-create is all about building a better vision for the future. Here's where you develop your MVPs, identify high-value use cases. We've got co-execute at startup speed. This is about defining your product visions with clear short and long-term goals. Then finally, we've got cooperate on a full-scale transformation. This is all about expanding those MVPs into scalable solutions, leveraging DevOps, enhancing features, and essentially achieving wide-scale transformation. We're sharing this just to give you an understanding of how the activities that we're about to do really underpin, as Hassan has mentioned, putting the user at the center of your strategy and how you think about intending to use AI.
All right, so when you think about design thinking, again, at the core of so when we're thinking about systems of the world, the core is a human, as we mentioned, and we believe that enterprise design thinking is a framework that will help users achieve their goals and objectives, and help solve their pain points. And there are 3 kind of areas that we focus on. We can go to the next slide. So we focus on the user outcomes first. So when you're building AI capabilities, again, you are not the user, so you have to put yourself in the place of the user. You have to engage with them. You have to involve them in the process of building any AI product. And then after that is working in diverse, empowered teams. So what does that mean? We're working with designers, developers, and let's say you're working in healthcare and you're solving a problem for someone that has diabetes, for example. You want to involve all the stakeholders that are involved in building a solution for someone that has diabetes, right? You're going to bring the person himself, you're going to bring the nurses that know this user, the doctors, their mothers, their fathers, people that are involved in this person's lives. So all of them can be involved in this workshop that that will help bring better user outcomes. And then finally, treating everything as a prototype. So everybody says, fail fast, fail cheap, right? This is at the core of that. So when you build any AI product, it's very important to test it out really quickly. It doesn't have to be perfect. And even when it is launched, you still want to get your feedback on it quickly and then iterate on it as a team. So design thinking consists of many different activities, I think dozens of activities. And we have 5 that are centered around AI. And for the sake of today's session, we're going to focus on 2 of the exercises. One of them is not an AI-centered one. One of them is about understanding the user needs. And then the other one's about reaching the intent or AI intent for the user.
access to, if you scan this QR code, this actually brings you to a publicly available platform that has these 5 workshops that Hassan has just mentioned. We're doing the first in and around intent. If you scan that QR code, you'll actually get the full work through of how you can deploy these other workshops for your organization with the play-by-play. So feel free to reach out to us at the end if you haven't had a chance to scan that QR code. But what we're going to do is begin with our first activity. So a bit of house rules. How are we going to work together today? You'll see we've got a little bit of guidance as to how we would like you to work together as teams, taking into consideration that many of you are coming from different organizations. Hopefully you are sitting amongst people that you haven't had an opportunity to meet yet over the course of the last couple of days. Take a second to read through what our guidance is here. Essentially, we're going to be getting you to use the materials that are on the tables with you. Design thinking, for many of those of you who have been in design thinking workshops, you know the holy grail are Post-its and Sharpies. We're going to be getting you to leverage those. So make sure to take time to think, allow others to speak, be focused on what you're here to do. We really appreciate you taking the time out to join us for this workshop. If you need to take a call or do some work, feel free to step aside. But if you're in your groups, please do focus and try and learn something from one another and not just us here. Our first step in how we begin to define our AI strategy, as we've referenced a couple of times, we're going to start to develop a need statement. So taking into appreciation that you're each coming from a different perspective with regards to your respective organizations, and each of you at a different point in your AI strategy. The purpose of what we're trying to do here is really just give you the tools and practices to be able to do this exercise with your organizations. So as a group, we understand that there's going to be differences in where you're at, but we're looking to understand how you can apply those when you go back to where you're from. What we want to do when we develop a needs statement is essentially outline what users need, what we can do to better focus on ideas that help achieve their goals. So if we get the facilitators around the room just to bring up some of those whiteboards to each of our tables.
Lesley, maybe if I can add something here. So let's just imagine, just for the sake of the workshop, that each table represents a company. Okay, we'll call it company X, and each table is one team representing a company. Just so for the sake that everybody obviously has different users, different needs, but just for the sake of today, we'll divide the teams like that. And if you want, you can even call your company. You can name your company as well.
So here's an example of a needs statement just to get your thinking as to what we're looking for you to achieve here. So our user, HR managers, need a way to track and analyze employee performance so that they could identify areas for growth and improve overall productivity. The exercise that we're going to get you to do is to find a commonality amongst your group for each of the things that we've got here underlined and in bold. Customer service agents need a way to quickly access accurate customer information so that they can resolve issues effectively and improve customer satisfaction. So when you're doing this within your own organizations, you want to have the opportunity to gather and capture as much data on your user before you begin this exercise. For today, what we want you to do is spending the next 15 or so minutes amongst your group doing 3 different parts. The first is to ideate on who your user is. So turn in towards your groups, grab a Sharpie or a pen and some Post-its, and take 30 seconds or so to think about the user that you would like to focus on. And then, in turn, do a very quick playback to see what are the common users that you each have within your group, in your company X. And then identify and select what's the most common user and pop that up on your board on that first placeholder in the sentence. So turn in towards your groups now. We'll give you a couple of minutes to work together.
And if you have any questions, please feel free to just put your hand up and we'll try to address it. We have a question over there. Is there a mic? Yeah.
with each one need to grab a sticky notes and do that?
Correct, yeah, yeah. So each person grab a sticky note and marker and start by defining 2 or 3 personas per table, and then finally agree on one.
There are some exercises that you will
So it could be a customer, it could be an employee at your company. I'll just give you some ideas. It could be an HR manager, an IT specialist, customer agents, a specific customer even. So have you agreed on any personas or user? Customer support agents, okay. So we have one table here that's agreed on a customer support agent. Over here, have you agreed on a user? They're still discussing. Okay, you're still discussing. We'll leave you to it.
good answers so far.
How about here? Have you agreed on a customer? Sorry, on a user? Yeah.
Okay, we'll get you to agree on a user and pop that on a sticky note or write it up on your board. We've got a couple of spot prizes for folks who are particularly vocal. So, anybody keen to share who their user is? Anybody want a prize? Nobody.
I think they are not hearing you.
Anybody would like to share their persona, their user? Any team? Any volunteers? Or should we put someone on the spot?
Guys.
All right, you seem to know. You've agreed on a user, right? Do you mind sharing with everybody?
Generally, we pick the most common department in all of the companies, the finance department.
Finance department, nice. Okay.
Yes. Basically, the users would be the accountants or finance employees. They would to organize and view all of the expenses, incoming, outgoing expenses, everything related to their work, in order to forecast like the upcoming expenses and check where could be like efficiencies can be made for the expense.
Very cool.
Great.
Nice, great.
All right, so like this team have done, they've started to move on to the needs and benefits of solving that issue. So for those of you who haven't done that yet, move on to filling the next blank. So need a way to what?
So we have a question over there, I believe. Is there a question over there? there a question over here? Oh, you want to share? Would you like to share your user as well? Of course, yeah. No, so the one that we shared is an example. Our recommendation is to come up with something that is maybe more unique. It could be the same persona if it's the same persona, but maybe try to find a different need. Persona? Okay. So I see you have a persona over here. Would you like to share? Anybody would like to share? Any speaker? Hi guys. Would you like to give us... Oh, you're finished. Okay, sorry about that. Project manager.
Okay. So our persona is project managers. So we took a pain point. Project managers need a way to the status and actions related to the stakeholders and sponsors, so that they can save time on the resources doing this activity and focus more on execution.
Okay, nice. Very good. Very good. I think
All right, for those of you who have done your addressing the need, make sure to get something up on the board because you'll need to refer back to this in the next exercise.
Okay, so some of you have jumped ahead, which is great. Okay, so right now I think most teams have identified the persona, and then after identifying the persona, they have understand the need, and then finally now the last piece of the puzzle is why they would like this this need. What's important about this need? Is that clear? Does anybody have any questions? Okay. Low test. Okay. So typically when we run these workshops, we have multiple inputs for each one of these spaces, and obviously today we only have an hour, maybe now much less than an hour, but typically these workshops go on for an entire day, and an exercise like this might actually take sometimes 30-40 minutes because you have different inputs. Remember how I mentioned at the beginning that in enterprise design thinking, we're empowering teams by bringing diversity. And so everybody can come with a different perspective. But what we like to do in the workshops is typically we divide the groups by users. So if it's an HR manager, it's going to be a team that is focused around HR that are going to put their needs because we're going to get more information. Also, I should point out that typically before we do need statements, we actually do as-is scenarios typically. So an as-is scenario is the day in the life of the user, so we understand their end-to-end experience. and then where their pain points are, and then from there we start deriving needs. So, but we're kind of just putting everything in a very small space of time right now, just for the sake of time. I hope that helps. Yeah. So for the sake of, one of our teams here, we're asking if we have multiple inputs, and I just explained that we just have to agree on one input at the end, just for the sake of the workshop.
And I'll play back from our last group here, and then we're going to move on to our next exercise, which is around intent. So take it away. What have you called yourselves? What's your group called?
Table 1.
Table 1. Oh, taking the lead. Okay. Self-appointed. There you go.
Yeah, hello everyone. So table 1 had come up with brainstorm 6 ideas, and then we all converged on a local idea that one of our colleagues here has brought it up. So our need statement is, Ministry of Municipality here in Qatar need a way to review permit requests that the users submit the permit request so they can meet the design codes, the municipality's design codes, and provide faster approvals. So customer satisfaction is a key criteria here. Quite, meeting the design codes of the municipality and then provide faster approvals.
Okay. I'm seeing lots of head nods around the room. Is this a sore spot for the city of Doha?
Yes.
Very good. We're solving real world problems.
So we all converged on this one. We had diverse use cases, but we thought this is appropriate for this session.
Perfect.
Yes.
All right. So Hassan, take us away then for what we want to do with these needs statements. Thank you, Group 1.
All right. So now we're going to talk about AI intent. So what does that mean? So this will help us determine whether we need or we don't need AI. So typically when we are running AI projects, we look at the 6 core AI intents that you would use or enable AI with. I'll read them out loud and then I'll just kind of run through them really quickly, but then I'll leave them up so that you can use them. So basically the first one is accelerate research and discovery. It's kind of self-explanatory. So this just helps you and your company or maybe your customer quickly find what they're looking for. And let's say you are an employee, it's about, let's say I work in healthcare. Again, I'll give another healthcare example. If it's for research for a specific disease, can I use AI to speed up my research? The other one is about enriching your interactions, and this could be not just with your customers, but also within your company. So how can we get information to each other really rapidly using AI? And then next we have anticipate and preempt disruptions. So this is like, think about if you work at for example, oil and gas company, and there is a disruption in how can you preempt disruptions in a plant, for example, if there's an issue, there's an error. The next one is recommend with confidence. So typically when you are trying to, and this can be, again, within your organization, it can be for your customers. So if I'm a customer at, let's say, a clothing line, and I've purchased stuff from this company before, I should get upfront recommendations because I know this user. Same applies for your organization. So how do you recommend to the people of the company better, solutions so that they can do their job better. So, for example, if I work at I'm coming up things from the top of my head, but if I am a customer agent and I have the information of the user that I'm speaking to, and I know what their likes and needs are, then I can recommend things up front to them. And then we have also scale expertise and learning. So this is a lot for organizations. So if I'm working in any department and I have information about this persona or this person that's working in each department, what are some of the learnings that they need to do to be able to grow in their careers? And then finally, from a let's say more of a compliance perspective, checking the liabilities and how do you mitigate liabilities. So these are the 6 core AI intents that we typically use when we're working on a project. So I'm going to put them back up after, but the first part of this exercise is looking at maybe 2 or 3 intents, AI intents, from the ones that I've listed, and seeing how you would solve for the need of the user that you agreed on in the previous exercise, and then come up with solutions through these intents. But at the beginning, let's choose 2 or 3 intents. We'll spend maybe like a couple of minutes choosing 2 or 3 intents that would help solve the user need. And then after that, how would you use this intent to come up with a solution for the need of the user? Does that make sense? So first 2-3 minutes, again, I'm going to put the intents back up. Pick 2 or 3 that would help solve the need that we did in the previous exercise. Does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions? Good? Yeah? Okay, great. I'll just reiterate this again. So we're picking 2 or 3 of these intents to solve for your use case, the one that you selected in the previous exercise. So to solve for the need. Yeah? Sorry? Can you? Okay.
We did like case by case.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. So you're saying to pick one intent, you mean? Oh wow, you went the extra mile. Okay. All right, just to. So. Sorry. We will present at the very end. We're going to have a playback at the very end. But we're not there yet. I'm going to take it step by step. Okay, so has everybody, are all the teams chosen an intent already? At least one or two intents? Show of hands for the teams that have already selected an intent. Okay, more or less, here. Have you selected an intent? Not yet? Okay, we'll give you another 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Okay. Yes, we can, yeah. I'll just speak to this really quickly as well. So just remember that even while you're thinking about your real use cases in real life, these are the 6 core intents that we actually show to our clients. So this is real stuff that we use. It's not just and there are other intents, of course, but these are the 6 core ones that we focus on typically. Yeah. What kind of, sorry, can you say that question again? Do you have the mic for this gentleman? No.
Yeah, so my question was, if we would have rogue agents that, let's say they're running autonomously, do they fall under the core AI intent, or is like a separate category?
Oh, that's a good question.
If it's something that your business embodies, I would say yes, consider it to fall under the 6 core intents.
Typically, these are the 6 ones that they would fall under. It's rare that they wouldn't fall under these 6 core intents, because these are the capabilities that AI is able to achieve.
True. Yeah. Based on these, you will be like building upon them, and then
exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There might be, a few use cases here and there that are kind of unique, but typically, yes. I mean,
like for instance, what I had in mind, making changes into, let's say, like systems, like auto healing, auto optimizing, and all of that.
All right, auto healing.
Yeah.
That would be nice. That would be great. Okay. So the next exercise now. So we've identified the need, right, in the previous exercise. And I think now everybody has chosen, 1 or 2 intentions, AI intents, yeah? Okay, so now that we have the need and the intent, right? For each intent, how would you solve for the user's need using the intent? How would you solve for the user's need using one of the 6 core intents that you've selected? Okay, so in enriching interactions, okay? So, this is very much about notifications, about getting some sort of alert. So in the case of enriched interactions, we have automated wake-up calls for this particular problem. I don't know what the need was in this case, but in this case they had an automated wake-up call. So it's the how, exactly, but through the intent. So for example, if I used the same one, like an automated wake-up call, for another intent, it wouldn't make sense, right? It has to align to the AI intent. So if I use this for the intent that's focused on compliance, then obviously it wouldn't make sense, right? So does that make sense? Does anybody have questions? No? Okay. So we'll spend another 10 minutes on these ideas. I just want to say, the more ideas, the better. Quantity over quality. If you have repeated ideas, my recommendation is you all write down your ideas and then discuss after 5 minutes. So if each person writes, let's say, 4 or 5 sticky notes with their ideas that align to one of the intents, and then we'll converge and then start putting them together and then categorizing them. I think you clicked it by accident. Let's see. Oh. There you go. So I wanna give you a bit of advice here. Table 1, company 1. So I want to give a bit of advice here. My recommendation, typically in workshops also, sorry, it's a bit too close. The reason why we say quantity over quality is because of these discussions. So I think these discussions are excellent and you should have them. But my recommendation is get the ideas up on the wall or on the pad in this case, and then discuss. The reason why is because you'll find that sometimes when each person individually writes down all the ideas and then each person puts it up, then you can start categorizing them and saying, okay, this falls under this intent, this idea does work for this need. And then we have other exercises in design thinking, obviously, that help you prioritize ideas. But this is the reason why we ask that less discussion at the beginning and more after. And the reason why we have the playbacks, and we will have a playback after this, is so that you can have these healthy discussions that you're having now, except this time you have a bit of substance. You know what I mean? Because you have the ideas written down and then you can prioritize them in a structured way rather than going into a debate beforehand. Just a recommendation, I think it will help you. Okay.
So you should have found a couple of common ideas and themes. What we want you to do now is just discuss any overlaps. Because in a second what we're going to get you to do is pick on one or two groups just to do a bit of a playback to the rest of the room as to what your needs assessment was, your needs statement was, and then what intents you chose and how you chose to tackle them.
So I'll tell you. So now the first exercise we did was we selected an intent. After that, we selected the solution aligned to the intent that we've solved. In some teams, I hope that there are multiple solutions for each intent. So you'll find typically, because in the workshops, as I was mentioning over there, is that you will have multiple ideas. And because we're looking at quantity over quality, you'll find that a lot of the ideas are pretty much the same, right? So you'll have some commonalities. So what we try to do is first categorize them, make sure that they're categorized in the correct intent, and then all the overlapping ideas, we kind of just group them together. And then after that, we'll play back the ideas. Just for the sake of time, we have around 2 minutes. We'll give you another 2 minutes to finalize your ideas, and then we're going to have a playback session. So just 2 minutes. All right, we had a question from one of our audience members, so it doesn't have to be one person that presents, it could be 2 people, doesn't matter.
How are you doing, group 1? Have you...
All right, so we're just gonna do 2 or 3 tables. So if we have any volunteers to play back, any volunteers that would like to share, you can definitely share. Okay, can we pass the mic to the? First of all, we didn't get your company name. What's your company name? Sin what? Okay, nice. Okay.
So accountants need a way to organize and display their organization financial interface so they can save time, increase spending and expense efficiency, forecast. So basically saving time accountants have hard time switching through multiple apps like Excel, Word. For invoices, they have to use another app. So teammates struggle juggling between apps. So we made one app, one platform, a financial dashboard where they can track expenses, pay bills, create invoices, and with budget subscriptions. And users, accountants, business owners, and leads. There are a lot of needs. It can replace accountants or be a tool for them. So track expenses. So we're going to provide corporate cards and benefit. There are a lot of benefits. Saving time and detect fraudulent activities. Like there are some accountants that may create fraudulent activity in the company. So that's where AI comes in. Benefit. What was that? No.
The last one is
So-
thinking about the intent that these align to.
So for intent, let me
Yes.
pause the mic.
So regarding the intent, we first identified the intent for all of the needs that we have, and secondly, we cross-matched it between the how and the intent. We discovered that for, let's say, intent number 1, which is the, let me check, the accelerated research and discovery.
Okay.
And enriched interactions. We have a chatbot solution that can work for both intents.
Okay.
So this is like one of the
So
assignments that
what
we
is the chatbot solving?
basically providing information. This is the main job, to provide like a tailor-made experience for each user. That's why it has to be like enriched, and it could be in different. And it could be an expert in different subjects.
Okay.
Academic research, a financial analyst, marketing. So it's a all-around solution.
Great. Thank you.
Very
All
well
right.
done. Table A, we'll give you. All right, well done. Right, go for it, table 1.
So this is table 1 again, and to reiterate our use case, we have the local municipality that receives customer request for the permits, and the municipality reviews the customer request in compliance. Is it compliant to the existing design codes? And if not, they send it back to the customer to make it compliant, and then they approve. That is the current process here. So our AI intent, we chose 2 from the 6. The first one is enrich the customer interaction with the local Qatar Ministry of Municipality here, and anticipate and preempt disruptions. So that is the intent of adopting AI into our solution up here, right? So our solution, the team has come up with a solution up here for submitting these approval requests electronically. So maybe an online form where the customers can submit the request, the descriptions along with the architectural designs. So that goes in the data collection from a ministry's perspective, right? So they're not manually accepting it, so they're collecting the data up here. And once we collect the data, the ministry on its end will train an AI engine which understands all the existing design codes that they have, the main criteria and all the edge cases. And then the ministry will also have some AI agents that if the customers or the customer architects, they call in for queries, they can respond to those questions electronically. If they call in via telephone, the agents can talk to them, or via email or online collaboration. So the benefits of the solution is reduced time, both from the ministry itself as well as from the customers. And We anticipate to improve customer satisfaction with this online process. And then by doing this, by implementing these solutions, the ministry goal is to increase the transparency, the fairness of the approval process. Right? This will all be online available for the customers to review and the other public to review as well. I mean, that's how we do it in the US. If things are applied, for a public permit, that's available for everyone to review. And by doing all of this we also reduce cost. The cost to the customer, perhaps, it's a reduction in the fees and the cost for the ministry. So that's the overall fantastic goal for adapting the AI solution. Okay.
Very good.
Thank you.
So very good use case, and you went the extra mile and solved and also mentioned the benefits of your AI solution. So well done.
Thank you.
Well done.
Credit goes to the team.
Thank you. I think in the interest of time, we're conscious of wanting to let you go on time, and we know you've taken a little bit extra of your schedule to join us, so really appreciate that. I'm sorry we couldn't get to every group, but what we want to just flash up again is, look, this is a very whistle-stop tour of how this kind of workshop would run. We generally would run these over the course of a day or a couple of days and run it in parallel or subsequently or prior to some of our other design thinking activities. Have a look at what we've got online. As I said, this is all publicly available, so you're able to take this away and apply it. The purpose, our intent of doing this was really just to get you thinking about how you can approach these kinds of problems with design thinking in mind and putting the user at the center of everything you do. So we're going to wrap it up here, just cognizant of you being able to go back out and enjoy the rest of the day. You know where the IBM stand is. It's just at the entrance right behind the MCIT stand as you come in. Feel free to join us there. We've got our quantum specialist, our technology specialist, our consulting specialist. Hassan and I will be there from a design thinking, experience design perspective. So reach out if there's any questions that you've got. But thank you for spending the time with us, and hopefully you've learned a little bit of something about how you can take this back to your organizations.
Thank you.